What's good, y'all? You already know what day it is. It's Sumi Sunday, and today I wanted to start off with a quotable. And Wale said, "Spoil me with your consistency. Always remain the same you, and you won't have to worry about a different me." And I guess that's the topic for today is being a consistent person. I think it's a lot of layers to that, and I just kind of wanted to break it down. I guess the effects of people being inconsistent in your life and in lives in general, and just the domino effects of people being in and out of people's lives and not being consistently around and all of that different stuff. And I guess I'll just break it down from the foundation, or I'll break it down from the beginning. So, for example, we start with parents. If you're not consistently in your child's life, now your child starts off with trust issues. It's like, I don't even know about my parents. My mom wasn't always around, or my dad wasn't always around. They're in and out of my lives. I couldn't depend on them to do things for me. Stuff like that. Now, just growing up, you already have that in your mind. Like, these my own family, I can't depend on my own family to be there for me. I can't rely on them to be. And now it's gonna keep going. Like I said, in the domino effect, where now once you get older, and for example, if you start when you have friendships or you start dating or whatever it may be, now you might have those same feelings towards your friends and those you date that you have towards your parents, because your parents wasn't there. And so now you're like, okay, they might leave me like my parents did. I can't depend on them like my parents. And so now you keep on thinking back to how your parents treated you and think your friends and those you dating gonna do you the same way. And it's like, those things are traumatizing, and it has a long lasting effect. It can have a lifelong effect, you know? And I posted a video the other day in my story. It was about Roxanne, and she was talking about DMX death, and she was saying how a lot of times she grew up in a foster home just like he did, and how she goes out her way to try to help foster kids because she knows what it feels like, to not, have people that seem like they care about them, to know how to, have to fight through the foster care system and being in a foster home and stuff like that. She knows what that feels like, so she does what she can to try to keep as many kids out of there as she can, or just make it at least better for them in that situation. And thinking about that, and it always bothers me a lot too, is I always feel bad for foster kids, and I want to start doing more to try to help them, because I really do feel bad, and I really am considering at some point adopting a child also, because I just know it's a lot, and I know it's traumatizing for a child. And that it's just that having that mentality, like, hey, you gotta think outside yourself. Like, man, this is, if you felt that way, don't keep putting that on other people. And that just that other thing about it is, for example, if you grew up a certain way, and your parents treated you a certain way, don't treat your kids that way if you know it wasn't right. And it's just that ongoing cycle, and people keep doing that repetitive cycle of, okay, this is how I was treated, so now I'm gonna treat people like this. And granted, to a degree, it's like, yeah, I was taught this, but at some point you gotta be like, I didn't like how I was treated, so let me figure out the right way to go about this, and not keep on doing what somebody else showed me. And I'm guilty. I was guilty of that at points in my life myself, where I'm like, dang, I'm kind of treating people the way that I saw adults in my life treat people, and I don't like how that's going, and I want to be different. I don't want to be nothing like the way I saw certain adults treat people. I don't want to treat people like that, because it's not right. And I don't feel like I want to treat people with respect, and just kind of just differently. I wanted, the way I grew up and the way I had to deal with certain things and stuff like that, I wouldn't want people I know or care about to have to deal with stuff the same way. My kids in the future, I don't want nobody to have to deal with certain stuff I had to deal with growing up. And so I want to make sure that my kids don't have to deal with that. People I'm around don't have to deal with me acting like that. And so I just try to be, that's why I'm always trying to be positive. I'm trying to be uplifting, because I dealt with a lot of negativity growing up. So it's like, I don't want to keep on putting that negativity on other people, because I dealt with it myself and I know what it feels like. It's not a good feeling, and it doesn't feel great. So why would, and that's my thing. People get negativity and they keep on putting it on other people. But I say all this to keep going back into bringing everything full circle. So now, for example, you have friends or you're dating someone, and so you maybe you inconsistent now. Like, well, that's how my parents was. So now you inconsistent in people's lives, and you scared they're gonna be inconsistent in your life. So let's say you you know, you have someone that you dating or whatever, and so now you dating them, and you have this fear of them being inconsistent, and so now the next thing is you maybe start becoming inconsistent, like I said, because that's all you know. And so, because of that, now when y'all break up, if y'all end up breaking up, now this person is gonna have those same. Both of y'all now have that same mentality of, a we you gonna be nervous to be in another relationship because they might be inconsistent like the person you dated. So now you scared to date people because you scared they gonna be inconsistent, and it's a lingering effect. So now you're like, oh wow, I'm scared to be in a relationship with someone because they might be inconsistent. Okay, so I got it. I got my thoughts together. So what I was saying is that the problem is that now people doubt whoever they in friendships with, they dating their parents, because they like, oh well, I don't want to rely on you because I might not be able to always do, you might not be consistent. So they might feel like if they need you in a time of need, you might not show up. And so that's good. That's probably a lingering effect from either someone they dated, one of their friends, or their parents. And so someone else did this to them. So now they're traumatized that no one's going to be consistent in their life. And the problem is everyone should be consistent. We all should be consistent as people to some degree. I'm not saying you got to be out here, checking in every day, 24/7, stuff like that. When people need you, you are there for them. That's what friends are for. That's what whoever you in a relationship with is for. That's what your friends, your parents, and your family is for. So when you need them, they're there for you. I'm not saying they got to be on some Batman, bat signal stuff, but within reason, like if they need something, they need to talk to you about something, you can be there and talk to them. If they need to, come by and talk to you for an hour or two, be there for them. And that's what I'm saying, just really being there for people. People aren't even consistent at just being there. I'm not even talking about giving them money or doing this or doing that. I'm just talking about being around, being present, being supportive, and listening to them. That's the only thing I'm talking about. As far as consistency, just being present in the mind. You know what I mean? And a lot of people can't do that. And it's just that's what I'm saying. It's just a domino effect because you see this as a child, or you learn this as a child, or you experience it as a child. So now you inconsistent with people your whole life. You flaky on people. You not when people try to rely on you, you unreliable. And it's like, it's a long-lasting effect of people being inconsistent. Now, then that it can cause other people to be inconsistent. Like, well, nobody's ever consistent in my life, so why am I gonna go on my way to be consistent with people when I never see it? You know what I mean? And so now it turns people who are consistent into inconsistent people because they stop caring. And like, you know what? Don't nobody care about me. Don't nobody be consistent in my life. Why am I gonna be consistent in everybody else's life when nobody cares about me? And stuff like that. And that's when I always say, like, stay strong and stuff like that, because just because you may not see people doing the same positive things you doing or feel like they are, you got to stay consistent at being great yourself. So even your greatness going to shine through regardless. So even if somebody else not as consistent or they not doing what they need to be doing, you doing what you need to be doing. At the end of the day, that's going to show. And like I've said before, it's like, when you look at like someone like a Malcolm X or Martin Luther King or Gandhi or whoever you look at, like, when they was doing, or protesters or civil rights movement in general, when they was doing what they was doing, a lot of people thought they was crazy at that time. Like, what are you doing? Why are you doing this? You gonna get yourself killed or all this other stuff. But in the long term, it's like you see the effects of that. And so people in their generation may not got it, but people in the long term got it. And they see the effects of what they did. And that's why we admire them so much, because of the sacrifices they made and everything they did within and the vision they had for the future. And that's my same thing with you being a good person. Even if it's not directly affecting you, your kids might see it, your grandkids might see it. The people, the family that actually listen and care will see it. Whoever you end up being with, they'll see it. And so even if the whole society as a whole doesn't see all the great things you're doing, as long as your family and those close to you acknowledge and appreciate it, or even sometimes people got to come back around like, you know what, I'm sorry. I realized what you was doing. I appreciate you trying to help me, and I'm sorry. And that's the other thing too. Sometimes it's like it's not always about being right at the moment. It's about, just knowing you did what you was supposed to do and did right. And at some point, people either gonna acknowledge that what you did, and and some people gonna have regret for the rest of their life. Like, man, I really ruined this friendship, or I really ruined this relationship with my family, or I really ruined this relationship with this person I was with because they treated me great and I treated them bad, or I was inconsistent with them, or I didn't treat them like they should have been treated, or I didn't give them the respect they needed, or and people just realize when they not consistent, sometimes they come back around like, man, I really treated that person bad. Then some people just so I can't think of the word, but they just so stuck in their own mentality, and just so like selfish. I don't think selfish is not the word, but we gonna say selfish. People are just so closed minded and selfish that they don't even realize what they do to other people. So you might end up dealing with people like that, but if you end up with dealing with rational people, at some point they're gonna say, "Hey, man, I'm sorry. I'm sorry I did that to you, or I'm sorry I wasn't, taking in the heart, what was going on or the stuff you was trying to do for me. I appreciate it." And so a lot of people usually go acknowledge and say their wrongs and, kind of give you credit for what you did. So even if it ain't, like I said, at that time, it might be in the future. But, man, just stay consistent, be yourself. And even if people around you ain't consistent, you be consistent. Because either, like I said, they going to come around and try to do better. Or, hey, you going to realize those people maybe not meant to be in your life. So, I don't know what to say, man. I just wish people was more consistent and you could depend on them. Because a lot of people you can't depend on. I don't even know. I would probably say like 75, 80% of people, maybe higher than that you really can't depend on to do something for you. Like, a lot of people you really can't confide in and rely on to do stuff for you. Or, if you give them a chance, then they let you down. And you try to give them another chance, they let you down again. And so it's like, I guess the thing for me is, do you keep giving people chances, or do you just nip it in the bud after like the 3 strikes you out rule or something like that? Like, how many chances do you give? That's my question for y'all. And if y'all can give me an answer, how many chances do you think you should give somebody to show you that they inconsistent before you say, hey, man, I can't deal with this? Either I ain't even, should you just cut the person off completely if they being inconsistent, or should you just fall back and let them come back around and prove themselves that they consistent? What do y'all think? I just want y'all opinion because it's an interesting subject, and it seems like most people don't really have an answer. And most people just kind of like, oh, well, just do this or do that, or give them this many chances, or give them this much time to prove themselves. And people give, and then some people like, I ain't giving no chances. So you got all ends of the spectrum. But I just wanted to know y'all opinion on it. And, how many chances would you consider giving somebody, or to show that they inconsistent, or to show them true selves before you be like, you know what? You just not a good person, or you an inconsistent person, or you just don't care about me or my well-being. Like, just let me know what y'all think and y'all opinions. But that's my Sue Me Sunday is just be a consistent person, man, and be good. Just treat people right, man. Just treat people right. That's all I want to say today, man. Treat people right. Be consistent in their lives, because we all need consistent people in our lives to help us be stable. I mean, if you don't have nobody consistent, that's what drives people crazy. They don't have nobody to confide in. They don't have anybody to, lean on to in those times, because they don't have consistent people in their life. And a lot of people don't know how to be consistent. And so that's what I'm saying. Work on that. If you are a consistent person, keep doing that. Don't stop because certain people maybe aren't consistent in your life, or they might not be doing right by you. But if you're not a consistent person, try to work on being a consistent person, because we all need consistent people in our lives. And so it won't be that issue of, oh, how am I gonna know you're gonna be around consistently? Because if we all consistent people, we don't have to have that worry. So y'all be great, man, and it's all love, man. Like I always say, man, nobody else rooting for you. I'm rooting for you, man. One love, man. Be consistent out here. That's just word of the day, consistency.